What's up, YouTube? Timothy Rowe here. This is the first video that I've recorded of myself, so y'all just have to bear with me. But today we're going to talk a little bit about my RX8. A couple things that we're going to talk about is some deflooding. Because my car was flooded for a long time, like 4.5 days. I couldn't get it unflooded. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Some deflooding, and I'm going to check my oil and stuff and put some oil in it. We'll just talk a little bit about it and show y'all. But it's kind of dirty, but I ain't trying to impress anybody. But just some things you need to remember about the RX8 is that you have to, on a cold start, crank it up, let it sit for 15 minutes before you even go anywhere. At least, maybe if I can show y'all this, at least until that temperature gauge is in between them two. And then you'll be able to go somewhere. But, sometimes I don't let it warm up, and it'll suck down your gas if you don't let it warm up. But, today we're just going to talk about some deflooding, because, these cars are really bad for flooding. And the first thing I did was came out here and unplugged this thing right here. If y'all can see that, this thing right here. This is a air meter, and to do so is you'd have to unplug this, or you can unplug this. But it really don't matter. You can unplug both of them like I have. But this little machine right here, when it's cold and you're turning your motor over, this thing will kick on and be real loud. And what it does is it sends air through your exhaust to warm it up, so it won't be so cold. And it'll be easier for the car to start up. But if you were like me, I went to change my oil one day and it was cold, so I crunked it up and I backed it up and I took it to the shop. The shop's right over there. So I crunked it up, backed it up, went all the way around there, and went right in the shop and turned it off. And I didn't let it warm up or anything. So I didn't think much about it. I just, I changed my oil and everything. Before I just crunk it up, I just turned it over a couple times to get the oil to pump through it. So we did that 3 or 4 times, and then the last time I was like, all right, it's gonna crank up. So I held it over and it didn't crank up. It just kept turning over, and it didn't help. So we thought it was just that it didn't have enough battery, so we hooked up another battery onto it and it gave it more power and almost crank up, but it wouldn't crank up because it was too flooded. So this thing kept going off all the time, like I was saying. And what it does is, I already told you what it does, but it does also shoot gas into your motor every time it comes on. So that's why you would want to unplug it. But I worked 4.5 days on this, like I already said, and I couldn't get it to run. So what I did is of course you unplug that, but people can they get in this box right here, and they take fuses out for the fuel pump and fuel regulators and stuff like that. But none of that's gonna help. I took all that stuff out and it still didn't help me, so I just put them all back in and just unplugged that. But I had 3 people out here helping me when I did this. So, because right when I crunk up, I got someone to plug in my air, whatever that thing is called that I just said a few minutes ago. But I got him to turn to plug that in when I turned it on or crunk it up. So what you want to do is you get in your car, and you want to turn it all the way over. Let me demonstrate. I'm not going to crank it up. I'm just going to turn my key over, because I don't want to flood it again. But turn it over, as you can see. And then, of course, you can probably hear my CD player, it's messed up. But you just turn it over, don't let it crank up, but it's not going to crank up because it's flooded. But you hold it for 10 seconds, and then you want to turn it off. And then you want to count 60 seconds. But you probably want to have a timer to do this. And you do that, once it gets to 60 seconds, crank it, turn it over again for another 10 seconds. And then you turn it off and wait 60 seconds. You do that about 10 to 12 times, and it should crank up. But you might want to have another car beside you hooked up with jumper cables or another battery, because it will use all your battery, and if you don't have a strong enough battery for it, then it will not crank up. It has to have lots of battery, and you know, that's about it on there. But when you do this process, do not touch the gas pedal. Do not touch the gas pedal. The whole time that you do it, do not touch the gas pedal. But, you know, that's all I wanted to show y'all today. Or, you know, tell y'all and show y'all. But my car's a little dirty, but, you know. As you can see, I got my bow up there from when I got it. But that's all I wanted to share with y'all. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching.